Hey, what's up, everybody? This is a little bit of a different episode. What I'm getting ready to talk about may not be suitable for all ages. I'm just going to put that out there. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. There's a story that just happened roughly very recently, I would say probably within the last hour or so. And this is kind of dedicated to this. There was a man who got, went to a VA facility in Austin, Texas. He went down there to get treatment, for his PTSD. And he ended up committing suicide in a VA waiting room. There's a lot of things wrong with this whole situation. The first is, why is this guy not getting treatment? This guy came there, and if people were actually paying attention, they might have prevented this. This is horrible. And it's not just down there in Austin, Texas, where you're going to see healthcare like that. Believe me, I know from experience. The VA healthcare system, I get it. They're limited on funds. They're limited on resources. And there's a lot of vets out there that need help. I mean, they say anybody from the Iraq-Afghanistan era of the OIF-OEF wars, 1 out of every 5 commits suicide. 1 out of every 5. That's 20% right there. 1 out of every 5 people. Let that sink in for a second. There's a lot of veterans out there, like myself, who have been through hell, have seen a lot of stuff, have gone through a lot, and it still affects us to this day. Still affects, our daily lives. It's a horrible thing to ever go through. But, it's another thing. Here you go. Because there's some VAs, like there's the one that I go to or have been to, and I'm getting ready to probably go to another one. But metal detectors, you wouldn't think, having a medical detector in a federal building would make sense. But yeah, you definitely should. This place did random bag searches with 0 medical detectors. This guy brought in a weapon into the VA. Again, poorly funded, limited staff, limited resources, and that also could have prevented it, This story kind of just shocks me, man, because I've seen in the past where I have seen gentlemen come in. I remember a few times I've been at the VA, and I have seen gentlemen come in out of their minds, and the VA just turns them away. Like they don't want to deal with them. They don't want to help them. They think they're, faking it, or they're not worth the time. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen it at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. When shift change is getting ready to hit in about 7. Trust me, civilian hospital, military hospital, shift change at 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Yep. If you go to the ER at any point during that time, expect to stay a lot longer. Even if you don't in the VA world, expect to stay 3, 4, 5 hours before you're able to get seen sometimes. Believe me, it does happen. If you have a simple problem, it could take 3, 4, 5 hours. Even like if you're feeling like you're having a heart attack, if you're out of your gourd, if you're, having something major, it could take that long. It's sad. I wish that we would have better treatment, for the vets, who need it, I mean, that's just totally unacceptable to have a guy, known diagnosis, going through, not checking him for a gun, not talking to him, and to have him commit suicide in the middle of the waiting room. I got to tell you, it's one of the worst things I've seen. I was planning on doing a Dr. Quack podcast today on some other stuff, but that right there just made me kind of go, it's not as important. Sorry, folks. I know I should be talking about wrestling and I should be talking about football and other stuff, but that hit home to me. That hurt really bad. Just to know that. I mean, I've seen people, they've came into the VA and they'll say, yeah, I've traveled about 2 hours to get here, to go into the emergency room. 2 hours. Because if you go to the civilian doctor, you got to go through that process, and sometimes the VA goes, we're not claiming that. We're not taking care of that. Because that does happen. It's horrible. So, if you see a vet, if you see him today, say hi to him. Ask him how he's doing. Make sure you check on him. It probably mean a lot to them. It definitely mean a lot to me. It's crazy what, war and combat will do to a man or a woman, that's been through it. So if you can, for me, check that out. Check them out. Make sure they're okay. Call them. Say hi. Pay it forward is always a nice one. If you can. Some vets really need it. They're struggling. They're homeless. So if you see that bum on the street, he may not just be, a homeless guy. He might actually be a vet as well, who's suffering, who fought for this country, who, fought for the freedoms that are given here in the United States of America. But that's all I really wanted to say. I know it's not a long podcast. Maybe I'll have another one here later today or possibly this weekend, but I just had to get this off my chest, and I felt like it's something that people need to hear, So if you can, share this video. It'd mean a lot to me. Give me your thoughts on it. And I'll see you guys sometime this week.